Hey everybody, are we live or not? Hopefully we are. If you are watching this, let me know in the chat. I am waiting for your messages. First of all, this is my first live stream, so excuse me if I'm not that versatile in doing it. But I guess more people will show up, so I'm just gonna kind of wait for people to show up if somebody will, and then we can talk about anything you guys want. I have some time. It's 7 p.m. here in Prague. Maybe you can tell me in the chat, where are you from? That would be great. What country? What city? What time zone? What's the weather like there? Tell me about yourself. And then yeah, I guess we can talk about a few things. How was your day, guys? How was your day? My day was pretty cool, but it's pretty windy in Prague. So let me know, what was your day like? Where are you from? Because I would love to know that. And yeah, I would just kind of like to focus on a few things today. Maybe the situation of Muslims in the world. But since this is my first live stream, I'm a bit nervous, to be honest, because I don't know what to expect. Uh, I don't know, if somebody will show up, if somebody will ask me a question, if somebody will not ask me any question, then it's kind of pointless. So we'll see how it goes. I guess I'll start talking, and feel free to write anything in the chat. I'm just kind of, oops, okay, I restored the chat, so hopefully it's working now. Can you type in any letter in the chat? Oh, I see it now. Great. Thank you, guys. Assalamu alaikum from India. Awesome. Hey, bro, where are you from? Are you asking me? I'm from Prague, Czech Republic, but technically I'm from Slovakia, so I'm a Slovak person, which is the country next to the Czech Republic. We used to be Czechoslovakia. Maybe you've heard about this 30 years ago. But now I live in Prague, which is the capital city of Czech Republic. But we basically consider ourselves as brother countries, brother and sister countries. So I'm from Slovakia, but I live in Czech Republic. Where am I from? That was the question. Salam, Mono, salam. Assalamu alaikum from India. I love India. Which part of India are you from, Simra? Let me know. I know some Indian friends. Good. Turkey here. Turkey, awesome. Turkey is great. Which part of Turkey? I was in Istanbul and I was in Ankara, and every day I'm researching different cities in Turkey. I think today I was looking up. Let me find it. Actually, I was looking up some cities in Turkey which have about 1 million people and which are more conservative, just to kind of see what the situation is there. But I know Turkey is awesome. I spent some good time there. Bangladesh, hey, what's up? Bangladesh, Abdullah is in the building. Prague is beautiful. Yes, Prague is the most beautiful city, I guess, in Europe. I wouldn't call it the most beautiful in the world, but I definitely think Prague is a cool city. How's your day? How's everything going? How's your Saturday? What do you do on the weekends? I want to interact with you, so I don't have anything prepared. I can talk about a few things, but yeah, I just want to kind of get to know you. So whatever you guys have, let me know. What subjects are we discussing, Mono? I don't know. Let me know anything, any question that you have about Islam, about not Islam, about Prague, about me, anything we can talk about. Yeah, maybe we can start with one thing. What do you think? Because this was something we were discussing yesterday with a couple of people in the mosque. What do you think the situation of Islam is going to be in, let's say, 10 to 20 years from now? Because from my perspective, I can see a few things happening, especially in the West. I'm not talking about where I am, but countries like France, United States, UK. I think there's a lot of Muslims who are born there, and they have actually stronger relationship with Allah or Islam than some people who are born Muslims from Muslim countries, Muslim majority countries. So, any Muslim majority country. What do you think about this? Do you think this is true, or do you think this is not true? And do you think in 10 to 20 years from now we will see a big kind of I don't know, young people from these Muslim countries will be fleeing and leaving the religion, and then people in the West will actually be the ones who are more religious, which is going to be funny because they grew up in the West, but they realize the values of Islam are superior in some sense. What do you think about this? Because this is something I've been thinking a lot about, and I don't know, in London or in big cities like that where there's you know, thousands and thousands of Muslims. I think these guys are already kind of their dawah and the style they have, the understanding of their deen is much stronger than some people maybe, you know, who are not even practicing Islam, but they live in Turkey or in some other places. So let me know, what do you think about this? I think this is a great start. And yeah, I guess the situation where I am is very, very difficult. It's actually more difficult than I thought so. I was planning to shoot a small documentary or a small film about how Muslims practice their religion here in Prague, or what is kind of a day-to-day life of these people. But once I spoke with a couple of people in the mosque, and the people that I know, they all told me they don't want to be on camera, they don't want to make this public, they want to keep a low profile because, you know, there's been some issues with the government. It's not something people like to express here. The society is not very inclined towards it. So it's very sad that this is the situation. And I'm kind of in a weird place where I'm doing these YouTube videos sometimes in English, obviously. But I'm also, I'm not really communicating with a lot of local people here, but mostly immigrants, right? But yeah, it's very sad, and it makes me really sad that this is the situation where just because you say la ilaha illallah or whatever is your religious, you know, the predisposition, let's say, or belief, just because of your religious belief, you can't really fully practice it. You can't go on the street and, let's say, set up a stand where you would actually give dawah to people or try to talk to them about Islam. This is impossible here. The police will come and confiscate everything, and they just make up something. They take a book and they say, hey, this is propagating some stuff. And it's pretty crazy, right, that this is how the world works. And it's very sad to me, especially what's happening in Syria. This is incredibly sad, and what's happening with Uyghurs in China. You know, it's just I think this world is broken. We can't really fix it. But let me check the comments and let's see what happened. So, which school did you graduate from? Philosophy. The school I graduated from, it's like a local university in Slovakia. I did study political science, philosophy, and history, also European studies. So yeah, that's my major. But I did nothing with it. I had a very good time at school, but my studies were not very focused. I wasn't very academic, but I was very practical with it. I joined a lot of political organizations. I was traveling around mostly Europe, and I went to Turkey. I actually met, this is a funny story, I met President Erdogan like 10 years ago, but don't tell anyone. This is a secret. And yeah, I did a lot of stuff in the university, but I wouldn't consider myself like a scholar level of philosophy. I just have a basic understanding. I'm not definitely your best resource for philosophy, but yeah, I just have a basic understanding. I don't think the difference between, let's say, somebody who studied at Oxford University and somebody who studied online in some course and somebody, let's say, who studied in Russia or Slovakia, I don't think the difference is that big. And especially you have to pay for the education. We have it free here. So I have a free education. I was actually paid to study. They gave me money to go attend the university. So we have a sort of social system here set up that kind of does this. But some of course, some subjects in school are not that great, and definitely the quality of education is better in some top universities around the world. But I think the basic is the same everywhere. Okay. Yes. So I believe it will grow more apostates but more converts. Mono is saying this. Yes, I think this is This is correct. And where do you think this comes from? Especially apostasy. Why do you think people leave Islam? I can't talk about it because I just became Muslim a few months ago. So it's not something I can claim to understand. But why do you think people, leave? Is it because they are inclined to the Western values and they think Islam is kind of, I don't know, they feel it's a burden? Or what do you think is the reason people are leaving the religion? And do you think this is happening in Muslim majority countries, or do you think this will happen also here? As you're saying, more converts. I think yes, and I think this is interesting because you can see a lot of converts online, especially like if you type on YouTube convert stories or revert stories, you'll see a lot of revert stories from people who live in the UK maybe, or people who live in here, somewhere in like countries with no Muslims. But basically, how we got the understanding of Islam is through YouTube or through Quran, or basically, it was never the case that I have married somebody and I know that they are Muslim. We've never interacted with them. But because of the internet, I think this is one of the positives of technology. Because of the internet, the knowledge of, or the spread of Islamic knowledge can be done on YouTube and all these channels, and then you can watch the debates online and kind of really question your worldview that you had before. And that's what happened to me. So I never knew any Muslims. I wasn't looking for God per se. I was just kind of checking out a few clips on YouTube, few things here and there, and then it kind of after a couple of months, I would say a year, it was enough. And then of course reading the Quran and everything. But yes, that's kind of I think the new way of conversion. I think this is also what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to give dawah at all in a sense like some much better people or much more equipped people can do, but I'm just trying to ask some basic questions and see how it happens. And I think because I look how I look, and because I'm from Slovakia or Czech Republic, actually people will relate to me better, because when I was looking up these Muslim videos, all I saw was people from immigrant backgrounds who had parents who were Muslim. So I thought, like, this is a strange religion. This is not for me, because I don't see anybody who looks like me embracing this. And it's, why is it like that? And then I realized this is not the case. There are Muslims who actually converted to Islam. This is how actually, if you think about it, the original converts were the Sahaba. So the Sahaba were all converting to Islam. There was no, they didn't have parents who practiced it. They had nothing. They didn't have any Sunnah. They didn't even have Quran, if you think about it. They just had a couple of verses revealed, or not even that. And they still converted. So this is like something to think about. And yeah, I think this is very powerful. So let me check more comments. Yes, I believe it will grow. Assalamu alaikum. I don't think Muslim countries will leave. Yes. Yet no one questions India in their oppressive stance. I think this is the question of Kashmir, right? I'm not very educated on the topic, but maybe you can let us know. JF Knows is in the building. Maybe JF Knows can let us know what's happening in India particularly, and what's the problem there, because I'm not that educated on the topic. Do you believe atheists are one of the most people ready to believe anything, as they don't have a benchmark? Okay, I think I understand what you're asking, Mono. So do you think atheists are the people who are most likely to convert? If, let's say, you have a Christian, you have a Jew, you have an atheist, and then you have a Hindu, let's say, who is more likely to convert? And you're saying it's atheist, maybe. I don't know. It's a hard question, because who's an atheist, right? Like, I was an atheist, but technically I was still a Christian because I was baptized. But if you're like 100% atheist, I don't think they can convert as easily as somebody who's a Christian, because Islam is sort of like an upgrade of Christianity, right? Definitely not Jews. I don't think that's going to happen. But Islam is, I think, very, very in line what conservative Christians are are doing, but it's very, very little of them. So the new Christians, the secular Christians, as I was, or complete atheists, as I was as well, because I denounced Christianity at some point. I don't think these people are inclined to convert until you give them scientific arguments, or until you kind of go into a deeper philosophical discussion. So if you were to ask me, straight up about Quran, or if you're talking about angels, if you're talking about hellfire, if you're talking about the judgment day, I wouldn't resonate with this as an atheist. Yeah, I would just think this is made up. So I don't think this is a good approach with an atheist. You have to really go after their world view, which is oftentimes built on nothing. Okay, let's see what's happening. The Uyghurs hasn't been a new age issue. It's been a long-standing one, but no one was taking note. Yes, I know it's been going on for a couple of centuries now. And basically they had problems, especially after, I think, the World War II with China. But it wasn't in this sort of size. I think the conflict is now very out there, and even people who mention it, they get sort of demonetized or banned. I don't know if on YouTube, but basically you can see it in NBA and in big brands. Well, nobody's saying anything because they are scared, because all the money, the Chinese money, everybody who's receiving the Chinese money is scared to talk about it. Because if you think you have like 1.6 billion people, I don't know how many people are in China. It's such a huge market that if you make a movie in Hollywood, let's say they make a new Captain America movie, and it's watched by, I don't know, 50 million people in the US. They make some money on it, but the real money is made in China, where it's watched by 500 million people. And if the movie displays any sort of anti-Chinese rhetoric, or maybe religion, or the issue with Uyghurs, it's not going to be showed in China. So they need to oblige to the Chinese rules to get their movies there, or NBA, or anything like that. Any business has to be done according to their rules, because they have the most money. So it's very difficult, right, from that point of view. But since I don't deal with China, I don't have any plans to do it. We can talk about Uyghurs, and definitely, I don't know how to help. I don't know what to do except sending money, sending donations, because eventually all the power is in Chinese hands. They are in their territory. They are surrounded with Pakistan, with the huge mountains. They cannot leave. They cannot escape. So the only solution is a diplomatic solution, to agree with China on some sort of, I don't know, sanctions or something. But very difficult political question, and I'm glad that I don't have to solve it, because I don't know how. But I think, 50 years from now, people will look at this issue and they'll be like, hey, what we did to Uyghurs was really bad. And it's true, as now people look at the Holocaust. Things are pretty crazy in India. Yes. Apostasy is too common in Muslim majority countries. They think being atheist and going against Islam make them intellectually superior. Yes. Why do you think that? I think, from my perspective, and I can only talk about how I lost my faith in Christianity, was that nobody explained to me anything. I just had to believe it. So my parents or my grandparents didn't actually know their, I wouldn't call it deen, because we don't have a deen in Christianity, but they didn't understand the faith completely. They couldn't figure out a few things. On the other hand, Islam is very straightforward, but I think the people who grew up with it, they kind of have this tradition from their parents, and they haven't really thought about the deep meaning and concepts behind it. So somebody like me, I had to really study everything to make myself sure that this is the truth. I must have no doubt that this book, Quran, is a direct revelation from God. And if I don't have this connection, then everything else is going to be a problem. Like, how am I going to explain why do women cover? What am I going to say if somebody asks me about marriage with Aisha or whatever, right? If you don't have a conviction in this, it's going to be a problem. So you have to have the basics right. And I think people who leave, their parents didn't really explain their deen to them. So you have to educate your kids for sure. I think from the beginning, and any question can be answered with Islam. It just has to make sense. So you can't just say, why do women cover? Well, because it says in the Quran. Yes, but why is there a logical reason, or what is the actual benefit for a society? And yeah, from there I can make an argument, right? But you have to know how to communicate these arguments. So I think this is my thing why this happens. I don't know, what do you guys think? Yes. So apostasy. Haircut looking cool, brother. Mashallah. Let's all pray for the ummah. Yes. I tend to pray when I pray for just myself or my family or somebody who I know, right? But lately I've been trying to, do some prayers for the ummah, because it's all one. I shouldn't just be thinking about myself. Um, and it's crazy because I have never had any relationship with this Islam or faith, but I feel like I'm part of it in some sense, even though very small part of it. Hopefully, I can contribute something. Um, haircut. Yes, I had to get an illegal haircut in Prague, actually by a Iranian guy, which was a funny coincidence in his apartment. Any out of the box ideas that we can do for Uyghurs? I think we discussed. I don't really have any. Uh, will this be your first Ramadan? If not, then how was your experience? No, this will be my first Ramadan, so I'm very much looking forward to it, and hopefully, I can go through it. I will not fail. I've been Islam is as a faith, is for somebody who's converting. It's very hard to do everything. Every rule. So Ramadan is a big challenge for me, but hopefully I'll make it. I have the basics right, so hopefully I can make this first Ramadan, and then let you know what's happening. Yes, it's hard to follow. It is hard to follow. Is it hard to follow? I mean, their priority dunya over deen. Yes, I mean, dunya over deen is, everybody's doing that. Like, I'm also prioritizing sometimes dunya over deen, and I forget that, wait, this is dunya, right? Like, sometimes I'm working on something, and then I'm like, have to catching myself and go to pray because I'm too invested in this world. So yeah, I agree with you. And if people don't, it's all about salah. Like, if you don't have the prayers, then you will prioritize dunya always, because you don't have somebody to take you out of the prayer, to take you out of dunya to do your prayer. Therefore, you'll just be stuck in this world. That's why you need to have 5 daily prayers. It's very logical. I'm honest, like the first one, the Fajr, is very difficult for me, but I've been making it for a few months now. But yeah, I usually go to sleep afterwards. Hopefully that's cool. It's hard to follow. Lack of proper knowledge and regarding the West as superior, but Alhamdulillah, more people are joining Islam. Saeed is saying than leaving. Yes, I think especially with the kids and with the large families that the Muslims have in the West, they will be the ones who will carry the deen forward. And then proper knowledge for sure regarding West is superior. Yes. Why do you think people think West is superior? Is it because of the technology or economy? And if so, why is that? Why is West superior? Why do Muslims have complex of this complex of not being good enough? I think they have this. I don't know, but I feel that this is the issue, that people in the West think they're better, and people in the Muslim countries think they are not that advanced, let's say. And I can tell you from my experience, I employ some people because I have a business, and they are from Pakistan, I think. And sometimes, like a few years back, I can tell you this is the truth. People who, I'm from the startup world. We build software. So I talk to a lot of founders or entrepreneurs, business people. They all look down upon, these places, Muslim majority countries, and even from this place, because it's a cheap workforce. And I think this is the continuation of the colonial kind of, mindset. We never colonized anyone here where I am, but I think this is the mindset that these people are, good workers, but otherwise they can't really produce any elites in science or in something that we value. And it's totally not not the truth. I mean, it's based on nothing. So, and we were, for example, considered, I wouldn't call us slaves, but low-level Europeans for somebody in the UK. When the borders opened, when the communism fell, people thought about Eastern Europeans like me that we're like garbage, right? So I know how this feels, in a sense where you feel like you need to prove yourself that, hey, I am worthy of this. And yeah, I think if you can, it's also with the language barriers and all this. So that's why I really, my focus was always like, I need to get my English to a certain level so that I'm taken seriously and I can't really be considered as some guy, even though it's not about English, but I need to be perceived as on the same level. Weird stuff. Like a proper knowledge regarding West, yes. So let's look at something else. Let's look at some other comments. One of the signs of the end times is corrupt leaders. Yes, but I mean, if you think about it, everybody is corrupt, right? Every leader on this planet is corrupt, I guess. Not everybody, maybe, but most of them. We can't do anything to change the situation but make dua, although we want to feel we can do something on the ground. Most we laymen can do is speak on every media platform about the Muslim plight. Yeah, I think this is the majority. Yeah, we should definitely focus on dua and trying to raise awareness about this issue. And but some people can hold political office, and it can be powerful if somebody raises their voice. Like, for example, here, like, people in the government here, some people are actually sympathetic towards Muslims, but they can't say it out loud because they would be persecuted for their beliefs, because the public perception of Islam is so bad here that you can't even sympathize with them. Let's kill them all. This is not kill them all, but let's not even allow them to the country. They cannot even practice the religion. Women uncover, and let's do this. So this is the perception. So, and you see how they have to hide. If one of those people in power, one of those people or two, said, no, we actually support Muslims, and let's establish a dialogue about Islam, and let's discuss this as a government or as a society. I think this is actually going to bring about a change in these countries where I am, because people don't even understand. Like, we all the time you hear on the media, Islamic something, Islamic this, Islam this, but people have no idea what Islam actually means. Can you think about, like, how crazy is that? They think it means love. They think it means this. No, it means submission, and achieving peace through submission. Submission to who? Submission to what? To Allah. Who is Allah? Well, the creator of everything. How do we know that? Okay, now we can talk. Now let's discuss this. But don't disregard Islam, because the theology has a very solid foundation. So it makes total sense. And if we would have that discussion on that national level, I think this would be great. But people are blind. Oh yeah. There are 57 Muslim countries, but those who are in power are actually secular and puppets of the big countries. Bangladesh is hosting a very large number of Rohingya people routed out brutally. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. That can I didn't know that. Ramadan is amazing and special. I'm very much looking forward to it. Is your Kitab is asking, is your family Christian or atheist? Half and half. I would say 70% Christian, 30% atheist, something like that. I have some people in the family who have never even visited church, and some people who are like very church going. So yeah. No Muslims though. May Allah make this Ramadan easy. Yes, thank you. Ramadan will be easier for you. Well, that's great. Hopefully that's gonna happen. Hopefully, inshallah, we can do your dawah on YouTube. Yeah, that's it. I mean, we can do dawah on YouTube. I mean, I try to also create content that, at least in the future, that will not be about Islam only, but it will be about the basic concepts or the first principles of any sort of value system. Because I think for Muslims, for people like you guys in the comment section, there are people of knowledge out there who have much more knowledge than me about Islam, about the theology, about how to practice it. How, I hardly know anything advanced. I still have a lot to learn. Just yesterday, I learned in the mosque that when you do your sujood, you shouldn't put your hands like this, but you should do it like this as a sunnah. So you see, I'm still like very early, and I think if somebody needs theology or knowledge about Islam, there's much better sources than me. There's Medina University, so many. But I want to talk about, people who are either considering it or want to learn more information, and they are atheists or Christians or whoever, and just kind of not delve into theology that much. I don't want to talk about theology. There's so many resources about it. I also don't want to be one of those debaters or one of those people who are like doing philosophy arguments, because this is not what I'm good at. I don't know. I want to invite people who know that, but I don't want to do that myself. I don't think I have the enough knowledge to do it. I just want to focus on basics. What's your purpose of life? Why do you exist? Who is Allah? Basic. And the basics are the things that are important, and that's the things that will bring in more people, I think. So yeah, that's my idea. Ramadan will be easy. Almost midnight in India. Well, that's great that you're watching this. Thank you. It's 7:30 out here. Love from Kashmir. Kashmir. Okay, so you're from Kashmir side. Got it. Well, say hello to everybody in Kashmir. What's the situation out there? I think you wrote a comment before, right? Anti-Saudi propaganda and few anecdotal specifically designed make some Muslims think the West is better. Anti-Saudi propaganda. Okay. I mean, if you think about it, especially as an adolescent or a young person, if you have, let's say, 15, 16 years old, you're naturally going to disobey your parents because you want to break free. You're no longer a child and you want to make your own independent decisions. And therefore, you will question everything. Like, why do I have to wash my hands before I eat? Why do I have to do this? Why do I take out the trash? Right? Basic stuff. And then you'll be like, okay, this is what happened to me. I said, well, how do we know Jesus existed? How do we know that there is a God? And I was just pushing my parents or grandparents, and they didn't have any answers. So I was like, guys, this is made up. So it's like you're going to question everything. So therefore, your knowledge of the deen has to be very good to be able to answer them. Because if you do not, they'll just say, okay, this doesn't make sense. This is constricting me, which is true because Islam is about constriction, right? Your desires. But they don't understand within that submission, within that constriction, you find peace, which is Islam, peace through submission. So very difficult concept to grasp, that actually not chasing your desires or freedoms is going to allow you that, because that path doesn't lead anywhere. But we're playing on a, I would say, foreign home football field. I don't know what's the expression, but basically, let's say you go and have a match between two teams and somebody has a home field advantage and you're going to play against them. This is what we do, because the home field is the society, and the entire society is programmed in the way that maximizing freedom and pleasure is going to increase your happiness. So this is the construct people have in their mind in the West, but also in different countries. And to break this construct, this is going to require some really deep thinking. So that's why you have to do the philosophy, because you have to understand, where does this idea come from that maximizing freedom is going to allow us to maximize happiness? Like, the most to maximize my desires, I'm going to maximize my pleasure, and that's therefore maximize my happiness and human potential. Where is this idea coming from? If you don't know that this came from John Locke, or if you don't know that this is from liberalism in the 17th century, then you have a big problem, because what will you answer your kids? You'll just say, don't talk about it. But you need to give them the idea, like, this is a made-up social construct. This happened a few hundred years ago. It's based on nothing. It's based on a few ideas of philosophers who lived hundreds of years ago, and they actually used Bible as their justification, God as the justification for liberalism. So then you can see that it's based on nothing, and then you can show them the contradictions easy. So you can say like, okay, you're saying the freedom of speech is important, but you're blocking my freedom of speech as a Muslim. Simple. Like, how can this happen? So we see there's a lot of things you can point out, and therefore just studying the basics of philosophy or the basics of that will help you definitely. So this is how to go about this. I expect this channel to grow, inshallah. Yes, we'll see about that. I'm not, to be honest, I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't have any sort of strategy. I've been on YouTube for a few years. I have a different channel about business, and then I have this one, and I just had one video on it with Mike Tyson as philosopher. He's also a Muslim, and I wasn't a Muslim then, but I made a tribute video to him, and it got like 300,000 views, and I was like, that's crazy. Like, the video was there, I think 10 months, and it had like 300 views, nothing, and then it went to 300,000. Something happened in the YouTube algorithm, and I was like, okay, well, let me make more content. What do I resonate with? And I wasn't sure, so I was just talking about like self-improvement, how I lost weight, or whatever, how I am questioning my faith, what is, just not being really specific. So, but I think in the past few weeks, I found really what I want to focus on, and it's not just Islam, but really specifically focused on the purpose of life, and just all these things. Yeah, so I think this is something that can grow and hopefully will, but I have no plans, I have no agenda. I'm not getting anything from this in terms of money, but I just like to do it because there's not many people I can talk to about this. I don't even share these ideas with my family members. They don't even know that I have a YouTube channel. Almost nobody in my except my mother. She sometimes watches it, but she doesn't even speak English. So yeah, it's just weird thing where I'm sharing with you guys my deepest emotions or whatever I feel like, and expressing the belief system that I have, but I can't say that to my best friends, and I can't say that to my family. Weird, right? Hey, it's pretty cool. Yes, Christianity nowadays is more of a culture than a religion. I agree. People say, you have to swear on the Bible if you go to court. If just having cheeses in your life. But then if you look at the teachings of Christianity, nobody lives like that. Actually, it's not allowed to drink or to do these things, but the society is completely lost because there was a Reformation. I don't want to go to the history of Christianity, but it just wasn't working well for people. If you had to pick a Muslim name, what would you choose? So I think Ali is a good name, but I think there's a John the Baptist, right? I think he's a prophet, if I'm not mistaken. So I would choose him because my name is already Jan, which means John in English. So I don't know what's the Arabic translation, but I would probably go with him. What's your favorite argument for existence of God? Kitab. Fine-tuning argument from consciousness, cosmology. Yeah, I mean, so you're talking about all of these arguments are mostly about the external, like universe, or what do we see out there, but you can also make an argument internally and just talk about morality or soul. So something like, okay, where were you before you were born? So what is soul? Like, what's the difference between you and this I don't know, this thing? What's the difference between this? How come if I make a model of you and I kill it, what's the difference? Like, and you have to get them to accept that they have this soul, they have life. And then what is it? What is life? Right? What is life? Why do you feel moral obligation to help somebody in need? It's not logical. It's not based on science. Like, if I see somebody struggling, old lady struggling to get up the stairs? Why do I try to help her as an instinct? Why do you have a human instinct to help people? Why do you look at if somebody's suffering, why do you feel bad? It's not logical because it's part of fitra. But they don't they know they need to do it, but they don't have an explanation for it. So you can go do it like that and then get to, hey, there must be a creator. Then you can do it through the externally observation of the universe. I think both of these work. I don't know. But yeah, the thing is, it's not just about knowledge, right? Even if I talk about these things, people will still disbelieve because you haven't awakened their fitra, which happened to me. So it takes some time, and it happens when you actually something clicks in your brain. So even though you have all these arguments, nothing happened. But once you start thinking about them, and then let's say you make the first move, you humble yourself and you say, okay, these Muslims are making some good points. I still don't believe it. Let me just read the Quran. Let me just pop into it. But I'm gonna try to go against it on every page. But let me just see what's happening there. And that's when you will see. If you just tell them, hey, read this with an open mind and let me know what you think. And then the job is done. And Allah guides whom He wills. So you can't really guide anyone. It's Allah who guides. But you can just give them the means to do it, and then it's on to them. And I don't think I've guided anyone so far in my family or anywhere, because it's all about your behavior. So I'm trying to be an example of not drinking and being responsible, just holding the values of Islam to another level here, so that people can be like, this young guy is really weird. He doesn't drink that much. He's waking up at 6 a.m. to pray. But he's also like making. He has businesses. Like, what's going on? Tell me more about you, and then maybe I can tell them about this. So it's all about your conduct, your behavior, which is so important. And then, because they want to know, like, why do you behave like this? Well, it's not me. It's Islam. So I think that can be a good way to do it. Existence of God. India, yeah, India in the house. Is there a Muslim community where you are? Yes, Ahmed M. There is a community from Algeria, from Egypt, from I think India. Yeah, I have a few friends from there, a few from America, a few Czech, Slovak. But there's a community. It's very small, very small community. We all know each other. There's a couple of mosques here, and I visited all of them. There's a Turkish mosque, and there's a mosque for like the biggest one where Juma is. There's a lot of Uyghurs actually, and a lot of Arabs, a lot of from Saudi, from Egypt. Yeah, so but they all are local in a way, where they lived here for a while, and their kids are fully Czech or fully like local, but they still practice it. It's very small though. I don't think it's even like 1,000 people, to be honest. If you count everybody who's like practicing, maybe 1,000. So I'm very glad to be part of those 1,000. John is Yahya in Arab. Yahya. Muhammad. Thanks, Muhammad. So Yahya. How do I pronounce that? Yahya? Is that how I do it? We're a family of 1.8 billion strong. We're always here for you. Yeah, I think numbers are great, but you have to look at the quality, right? Christians technically have 1 billion people, but do they? Like, what's the reality of those numbers? You can claim to be Christian. Like, we just had a statistical, I think, the government was doing statistics on people, their religion, how many, and just basic. Every 10 years, I think this is done. And everybody from my family selected Christian as their box with religion. I did Islam. It wasn't even an option, I think. But but why did they do it? They don't even practice it. So it's just by name. So I think a lot of Muslims are also like that. But it's great, to be the second. I think it's the second largest religion, right? But the fastest growing. Yeah. John in Quran is Yahya. Yes, that's great. Where the sky meets. What are your favorite books on Islam apart from Quran, Hadith, philosophy, and your favorite author? I'm reading. Where is it? I have a book. I can't get it. I think it's Sheikh. I don't know what's the name of the Sheikh. The History of Islam. I'm also reading an autobiography from the president of Bosnia, and it's called Between the West and East, where he describes. It's kind of very close to me, where Bosnia is a European country, but it's Muslim. So, and they are kind of torn between the West and the East. So I'm looking forward to that. I try to read every day something, but I also do a lot of courses online. That's how I get my knowledge. I watch a lot of YouTube, I guess like everybody. So, yeah, I don't have the names because I don't have the books here, but yeah, I don't read anything else in terms of philosophy or something like that. I used to, but I used to read Seneca. He's my favorite Stoic philosopher, and I have actually a video on this channel about his ideas about death. And his concept of God is Allah, but there was no Islam because he was in the Roman times. I think it was 300 years before Christ he was born. He was a very wealthy man from the Roman Empire. He was actually advising the emperor, and he was very, very smart. And he died. Like, he actually knew he's gonna die, and he very calmly accepted his death at a dinner. And people slit his I think hand, and then he just died, and he was very happy with it. So you should look up the death of Seneca. It's a very interesting thing. It's not Islamic because there was no Islam, there was not even a Christianity, but he came to conclusion that there must be one creator. And then I have a video about that as well. So he's like a very influential thinker. I like him. And he was very rich for those times. But yeah, his ideas are very deep. Like, it's very, very weird that it sounds like he got some revelations, but this is just speculation. But he's a very good guy. Another reason, AB is saying, another reason people are leaving or even forgetting Islam is in the East is the rapid glamorization here in the recent past years. I guess introduction of too much luxury makes life look long lasting, maybe. Yeah, I think life became sort of easier with technology and with the luxury we have. The food is more available. So yeah, I think we live in a much more easier times than our parents or grandparents. But you have to make your life a bit harder. So that's why waking up for Fajr, working out, all of these things are important. Okay, I'm looking at JF Knows. Going back to your question about apostasy, I find a lot of the ones who are born into Islam and inherit their faith don't actually know who Allah is and what Islam is. Yeah, I've been told this by a guy from Senegal and other places in Africa that you're referring to, that people memorize Quran, but they don't actually understand what it means. So that's very unfortunate. I don't think this is great to just have people memorize something without understanding. You memorize something after you understand the concept, right? I memorized Salah, but before I had to understand, like, why am I doing it? In India, there's an oppression in Kashmir. Muslims are getting lynched for eating beef. There's also Citizen Act against Muslims. In 2002, there was a pogrom in one state. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Why is that happening? Can you tell us why? What's the conflict? Is it with Pakistan or is it the Indian government is actually oppressing the Muslims, right? Abdullah Zubair, it's because they don't know Islam. They preach I'm an ex-Muslim when they don't even know what constitutes being one. I think one must learn Tawheed. Yeah, I mean, this is very difficult, ex-Muslim. Yeah. Okay, so let me check some of the other questions. What do you think about Trinity? Is the Trinity known by reason? I guess your question is if there's a logical explanation of Trinity. I think it might be, but it's very difficult. Nobody explained that to me in that sense. I watched a few videos on it. But it's just, if you look at the sources, if you look at the concept overall, it doesn't make much sense. And once you start practicing, and when I was actually a Christian as a young boy, I was praying to God. I wasn't praying to Jesus. So it's very confusing. You're sometimes praying to Jesus, sometimes to God, sometimes there's this Holy Spirit. You don't even know what this is. I don't even know what that is, actually. So very confusing stuff, and nobody ever answered that for me. So I think they have a problem there. But I would be happier if people were Christian than atheists, maybe. But it's just my sense. Okay, how did you lose weight? Did you go on a diet, went to gym? Yeah. I lost 30 kilograms. I'm running every day. I'm working out. And then I did intermittent fasting, which is when you don't eat for 16 hours. I've been doing this for 7 months already. So I always don't eat 16 hours, but you sleep through the cycle. And that's kind of what I needed. Before that, I tried so many diets, nothing worked. But as soon as I started with the fasting, I just was dropping 10 kilograms. And then you start working out, eating less. That's how you lose it. But it's all about, are you prepared to lose it? Okay. You pronounce Yahya perfectly. That's awesome, Mohammed. All right, book recommendation: Divine Reality, Eternal Challenge, The Sealed Nectar. We'll look into it. Salam alaikum, all the way from Kashmir. Oh, you're from Kashmir, Irfan. That's great. We have another brother here from there. So good to know we have some Indians in the house. I'm highly flattered to see you connect with the audience. First name, last name. First name, last name. Who are you? Why did you choose this name on YouTube? First name, last name. It is appearing. I can see you. I got a lot of hate comments for my last video about atheism, about how it led me to nihilism. No, a lot of hate comments from Muslims, or nobody liked, about from atheists, and we were arguing a lot in the comments. And a lot of them, they just had a picture of a cat or like a weird name like Joe Biden. It's just so funny. And then it's just getting into these discussions on YouTube is not very healthy, like especially in the comments, because nobody wants to learn anything. So even Muslims get into these discussions and they try to argue. Like, don't do it. You're not going to convince anybody through a comment. So yeah, I try to go, but then they respond and it just goes for 40 comments and we just getting nowhere, and then it just ends like, you're a pussy. Like, what? So yeah, but it's funny. It is funny. First name, last name. First name, last name. Tell us your name. We need to know who you are. Which Jake, he explains the logical fallacies in Trinity. I don't think you need to explain. I mean, you can explain it, but it's just the whole concept. Like, you can see Christianity is not working out perfectly for a lot of people. But I know some Christians who practice it or who are like very devoted, and I think it makes people better than atheists. What do you love most about Islam? Zeshan Hussain. What do you love? I wanted to actually ask you that. What do you guys love most about Islam? What do you think? I just like that. I don't know how to answer this, actually. What do I think? What do I like most about Islam? It's nothing like a very specific thing. I think the overall concept, dunya, afterlife, judgment day, purpose. It comes back to purpose. Like you wake up, you know exactly what's your purpose. Your purpose is not to make money. Your purpose is not to buy a house. Your purpose is not to take care of your kids. Your purpose is to remember a lot. Simple. And then just do that for the rest of your life, and you should be okay. And then, of course, practice your deen, because if you're not going to practice it, it's not enough. Like, there are things people take out from Quran or from something, and they justify their actions by that. This is not how it's supposed to be, right? You can't just pick and choose whatever you want. Like, some people say, just because you say la ilaha illallah, you go to, like, you did shahada, you're good. But that's not true. Like, what if you kill somebody and your whole life you were behaving like a horrible human being? Imagine prophets and the Sahaba were scared about the judgment day. They were crying their nights about it. And you or somebody else is not scared because you said la ilaha illallah. Like, it doesn't make any sense. You should be always in the fear. You should never put your guard down. How do you know these things? It is true, but you also have to complete your deen. So yeah, this is very powerful to just, like, what do you think your understanding of Islam is against the prophets? And he was scared. Every prophet was scared. And you're not scared? Hold on. Why are you not scared? Why do you think it's going to be a cool judgment day? What do you think is going to happen? Like, take it seriously, right? Don't take it lightly. So yeah. People who just say, "Oh, I'm cool. I'm selling drugs, but I'm a Muslim." Well, then you're not guaranteed anything. It doesn't make any sense. So yeah, subhanallah, brother. Just like me, I lost 25 kilograms in a minute fasting. Hey, nice. Keyboard warriors, yes. And I would like to fight them. No, not. But I am boxing, actually. I know it's sometimes haram to hit somebody in the face. I'm not hitting anybody. I'm just basically, I've been boxing for about a year and a half or 2 years almost. But right now the gyms are closed. So yeah, I would like to have a match with somebody in the future once they open up some gyms. Islam is a deen of fitra, its value when you practice it. Exactly. Like, you can convince yourself about the arguments, but as soon as you start practicing, that's when you see the benefits, and that's when you're like, hold on, this makes sense. I'm feeling much better. Shahada, boom, another level, and then practice it and continue. And this is my path. I'm still not great. I don't know where it's gonna end, but it's going up, right? Because it's either going down or up. You can't let it go down. You can't lose your faith, because then what do you have? If you practice logic, will only take you to a certain point. Yeah, establish logic, practice, boom, shahada. Simple as that. Islam is a way of life. Yep, Byte 89. That's right. Adnan, assalamu alaikum. How can people believe in Trinity? I don't know. I mean, it's just, they say you have to believe it, so you don't really use any logical argument. Trinity is paganism. Yeah, it's based on Roman pagans, but even birth of Jesus Christ is paganism, because he was not born on the 25th of December. What do you do? I have a name that begins with a first name and ends with a last name. First name, last name is in the building, and he explained his nickname. That's great. Like Khabib smashed them. Yeah. I wouldn't consider myself Khabib, definitely. I'm not that strong. How you spend your lockdown? DMQ Farrar. Lockdown, yeah, I've been going to work. I have a motorcycle scooter, so I've been driving that. I have a car. I go on a lot of road trips. Sometimes you see in a video I have like a nature, for Czechs or Slovaks, we are very connected to the mountains and to nature. So every weekend I have to get out from the city and just go for like a hike or 20 or 15 kilometer trip. So this is very common for us. And then jogging. I'm actually very happy in the lockdown. Like, it's very, very harsh over here, but I'm actually I'm going to mosque almost every day. I don't see any problem, wearing a mask, and life is much better for me. So, yeah, Lockdown, not lockdown, I still do the same thing. Even if there was no lockdown, I would still do the same thing. So I don't really see that much of a difference. Maybe I would go maybe to some gyms or maybe something like that, right? Completely agree. As born Muslims, sometimes we don't fully appreciate how Islam gives us a clear purpose in life when there are so many people watching. Yeah, dude, just think about it. What is the alternative? Have people, there's billions of people, have they tried every possible way of life? Yes. You can take drugs and be a junkie. That's a one way of life. You can become a politician and go after power. That's one way of life. You can become the greatest sportsman. You can steal and murder. That's one way of life. You can be dishonest to people and just shady. You can, anything you can imagine. People tried it, and nothing has brought them the purpose. I would call it sort of not happiness, but like contentment with life. So what is the alternative? Like, why would you leave Islam? If you leave Islam, you're not getting a purpose of your life. So if you're going to atheism, you're going to darkness, nothingness, and then you just have to kind of live for the moment and live through your desires. If you're going to a different faith, well, I mean, what faith are you gonna go to? Maybe you can convert to different religion, but like, does it make more sense than Islam, logically speaking? Or do you connect with somebody better? Like, who's better than Allah? Tell me. If each religion has I think it's a bit inferior in this sense, in theology. So what's the answer? Like, it's Islam. Yo. Weed for medicine purposes used, it's okay. No life sake of. Yeah, I used to smoke a lot of weed almost every day. I used to even grow weed, not really grow, and sell it. So I have a lot of experience, but I don't smoke anymore. It just changes your state. So just follow the sunnah, follow what you're supposed to do. Weed for medicine purpose, if you have it prescribed by doctors, then probably. But if you just believe that it helps you to calm your anxiety, then it's something like you drink because you think it's gonna make you better, but it's not. So try to get off that stuff. Anything that takes you away from the reality is bad. So weed, alcohol, drugs, all that stuff. I used to do them all, dude. I used to do them all. So just be clean, cleanliness. Have a clean mind. That's the best. But I understand your point with weed. For example, it helped me sleep, but the price for that was that in the morning I couldn't like remember a few things, because you start getting your memory will weaken, and there's a lot of negatives. Big fan of the interviews, first and last name, with all the respect to brother, but I really recommend for you to have an interview with Hamza Torsis. Yeah, I mean, maybe in the future, alhamdulillah, maybe in the future. I'm just trying to figure out also what type of content I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna mix it up with interviews and this. In my childhood, I used to question people about the spelling of Czechoslovakia. That's weird. Czechoslovakia. There's no Czechoslovakia. If you come here and you say, hey, you're from Czechoslovakia, you're gonna get hit. There's no Czechoslovakia. It's Czech Republic and Slovakia. There's not even Czech Republic. It's Czechia. But it's so local that nobody cares. From weed to Tawheed. Yeah. What is something interesting you learned about Islam recently? Yes, recently, very interesting. Dajjal, the Antichrist, battling Jesus. This was something I was looking up yesterday because I didn't really know a lot about how it's gonna play out. What are the signs of the Dajjal? How he's gonna look like? And the Prophet actually described him in very big detail, that he's gonna have a eye, like problems with an eye, like yellow hair and all this stuff, and that Isa, Jesus, will descend to Syria, to a specific mosque, and pray. I think I don't know which prayer, but he's gonna pray one of the prayers with the Imam. Then he's gonna find the Dajjal, who's gonna claim he's God. once the Dajjal sees him, he's gonna like dissolve, and then he's gonna kill him with a sword. So this was really, really cool, because it's also like, yeah, I really, really didn't know all these details about this. So this is the something I learned lately. I just knew that this is gonna happen, but yeah, I like that how specific it is. Yeah. Happiness is subjective. What do you think about it? Yeah. I mean, what is happiness? Hey, 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 this happiness? No. I mean, just you're not seeking happiness, you're seeking contentment. So yeah, I guess that's it. But anyways, I think it's been over an hour, which is crazy. But thank you guys so much. This was my first live stream. It's very successful. So I guess I'm gonna go, but let's catch up each week. I don't know what day am I gonna do these things. Maybe Sunday, Saturday, Friday, but it's gonna be around this time. And so people from the India can join in, and people from the US maybe, or people from Europe. So it works for everybody. And yeah, but thank you guys for stopping by. The next video is gonna be about modern jobs and how useless they are. So that's gonna be my next kind of video. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and I'll see you next time, inshallah. So have a great evening, guys. See you later.